and welcome. As you can see, the positioning of the camera is a bit different. I had a tap on my wrist from my daughter who said that it's not the done thing to do a video on your phone. So I've bought myself a webcam and I'm trying to do it properly. So that's why it might look a bit different. Um, it's not, the quality isn't as good as my phone, but hey ho. Right, so today's video I thought I would do my personal top 10 ways of starting the process of connecting with one of your spirit guides. So I guess I'll just dive straight in. So the first one, which I'm obviously going to go with first, is go and see a spirit artist or book in, um, go online and find a spirit artist and basically let them do the work. That's kind of the easiest way. You might have to give a photo of yourself or your date of birth, handwriting, your full name, and then they will do you a portrait so you can see exactly what they look like, or at least a good idea of what they look like. And you might also get a reading with that portrait that will tell you about that guide. So that is the easiest way. The second is to have a clairvoyant reading or psychic medium reading with someone who might be able to bring in your guides and describe them. They might be able to tell you things about that guide's life, why they're with you, and such things. And if you are having a reading and you want your guide to come in, just ask them. Just say, "Look, do you mind tuning in and see if anybody will step forward?" So that's another really easy way, because you're leaving it up to the clairvoyant to get the information for you. So number 3, meditation. And actually, this is probably, wow, it is one of the easiest ways. But I guess if you don't want to do anything, then it would be number 1 to go to a spirit artist. But yeah, number 3, meditation, because this takes practice and you have to go with it and not give up, is to set out the intention that you want to connect with your spirit guides or a spirit guide. So just before you go to do your meditation, and I can't stress enough, it's about putting out the intention. So I would suggest, and make your own up, by the way, but words along the lines of angels, spirit guides, Lord, universe, ascended masters, and other celestial beings, please may you come close. And could you please show me one of my spirit guides? Is there anybody that would like to step forward and connect with me? I need some helpful guidance. And then always be appreciative. Say, I love you, I appreciate you, and please can you help me? So really put out the intent and then go into your meditation and just see where you go with it. I mean, it does take a bit of practice. Don't necessarily expect to just suddenly have a guide whoosh in on your first go, although they might. But it's getting used to it, setting up the intention, and just basically don't give up. Because I've done this loads of times, and I've connected um, who I know to be one of my guides, because I just feel it. I know that's one of my guides. So we then move on to number 4, which is dreams. Now, this is a great way because you're unconscious, you've got no ego, and you're completely open. So this is the super easy way for them to come in and connect with you. And I've had this quite a few times, and in the morning I will go draw them, and any messages I will write down because I don't want to forget those nice experiences. So a bit like meditation, set out the intention before you go to bed that you call them in and set out the intention. I want a good night's sleep, I want lots of happy dreams, and I'd love to connect with a guide. Could they make their presence known into my dream? And again, just go with it, be patient, and see what happens. Right, moving on to number 5, and this is development circles or spiritual circle. Now these are great because you're all in the same boat. You're all kind of like-minded souls, and because you're all together, you're sharing each other's energy, and it's a great way of getting the vibration up in the room. And you guys might all sit together with the aim of trying to see your guide or other people's guides, and they might step forward, you might sense them. Also, if a clairvoyant or medium is running the development circle, they might feel free to give information like, I can see your guide behind you, or I'm sensing them. And it's also a great way of making friends if you want to like try and find some spiritual buddies. Right, number 6, your gut instinct. And I've had this loads of times. When you sense that there is a presence near you. Now, don't just immediately assume that it's a ghosty and that someone's roaming your house. Um, it's most likely just a spirit passing through. It could be a loved one, it could be just somebody saying hi, but it could also very well be one of your guides. And I would suggest when you feel that, just sort of be present, go with it, and see if you can pick out a gender. Can you sense their nationality? Can you get any features? And just like I said, just go with it and trust. And I mean, like I said, I get this a lot. So like the other night I was watching TV, and next to the TV I just sensed that there were two individuals there, and I managed to make out that there was a male in his sort of 60s, 70s, and there was a lady who was roughly the same age, and they were Irish. I knew they were Irish, and they were just stood there, and they're just popping in, they're just saying hi, making their presence known. So that's one of them, gut instinct, when you sense it. Right, now on to number 7. Now this one's really good because I've done quite a few of these. They are YouTube videos and on like sort of online courses where you get to watch a video or listen to some audio, and excuse me, they will walk you through the process. So if you're not sure where to start or what to say, and you just would feel much more comfortable having somebody walk you through that process, it's great. And it's good because they're all different. I don't know why, they just, all the ones I've done, they've all been completely different, but it works. So they tend to walk you through the process. Then at the end, you sit with your guide, you spend time with them, they give you messages, and then they walk you back through, and then you're back in the room. So they're great. And like I say, there are online courses where they can help you tune in and develop your gift, and help you to see your guides. So moving on, we then have books. So for people who aren't a fan of watching like live tutorials, or they actually want something physical, books, I've got absolutely loads of them. So this one is How to Communicate with Your Spirit Guides. And as you can see, I've bookmarked it because there's those are the bits that I think are the most useful. So this is great if you want to like highlight in the book bits that you think are going to help you most. So they're great for hints and tips, and if you like want to keep a journal in the back or whatever. So books. Then you've got the more, right, the last two, number 9 and number 10 are on the more of the rare side, but they're still in my top 10. So you've got, right, if you're lucky enough, and some people do, they remember having a imaginary friend as a kid. Now, yes, they could very well just be spirit guide. Sorry, they could very well be a loved one or just a spirit who's chose to hang out. You might have a very active house that you're living in as a kid, but I've done a lot of research on this, and it does tend to be that these are spirit guides, and they are making sure that you are safe and that you are happy. And because you're a kid, you're unconditioned, you've not had the world interfere with you, you're completely open, your ego is not like the ego of an adult. Yeah, so you're open to the spirits around you, and so that's a good way. And I believe you could do regression with a hypnotherapist and actually go back and try and remember, bring up those old memories to see whether you did have a spirit guide as an imaginary friend. So the final one, which I said this is on the rare side, but I did want to include it, is lives between lives regression done by hypnotherapists. Now, I've done a lot of research on this. It's absolutely fascinating stuff. So the reason why I'm choosing this one is because when you're under deep hypnosis, you have the ability to tap into your higher self in spirit, and it's your life you're leading in basically in heaven between incarnations. And they've done a lot of research on this, so this isn't just like airy fairy stuff. They've been doing research on this since the 70s, and basically in this regression you will get to learn about pretty much what your higher self is doing at that moment. So who you're hanging out with in your spiritual team, what house are you living in, because it's your reality, it's your creation in spirit. You can live in whatever house you just got to think it. If you want to live in an igloo, you'll be living in an igloo. And what job are you doing in spirit? So there are loads of roles. So you could have just finished a life and you're going off to school and spending time with your guides to talk about what went right, what went wrong, how you can improve. You might be getting ready for your next incarnation, so you're doing a lot of prep work with your guides to make sure that you're getting all the right lessons in. I mean, you might just be, chilling, or uh, working with the animal kingdom or creation. There is literally so many roles to be done in heaven. You don't just go there and lie on a sunbed. But the reason why I'm telling you all this is because the research suggests a guide will normally be present. Yes, loved ones will come to greet you, and then you might meet your guide and they'll take you where you need to go. Or if you're very seasoned and you've done thousands of lives and you're so used to pinging back and forth, you might just completely, you don't need the introduction, you might completely cut out seeing a guide or loved ones, you just go straight back to your spiritual family. And you don't need the greet and meet thing. So they say that a guide will come to meet you and you get to see them and embrace them and spend time with them, and that is really special. What was I going to say? So the only thing I would say, that this does come with a bit of a warning, in that it can be quite intense. It is a magical experience by the sounds of it, and it can be life changing. But because you're being regressed, you have to go through the emotions and sensations of physically dying to then leave a past body to get to your higher self, where you actually tap into what you're doing in spirit, if that makes sense. I'm so sorry if I'm making this sound complicated. So yeah, some people do report that it was really traumatic having to leave an incarnation where they might have died in a lot of pain or whatever, and then they get to the good bit where they get to meet their loved ones and their guides. So, but yeah, so that, I mean, it's another way of not only seeing your guide, but you're physically, your soul, your spirit is actually merging with them and being with them, like a big energy bubble. So it's absolutely fascinating stuff. And so that's my top 10. But what I will say out of all of this is, again, intention, but the biggest one is to trust, because if you haven't got the trust, it's going to be really, really hard for you to bring it through the connection. And a little heads up, like, if you've been trying and trying and trying, like, lots of different methods, and you feel like you're banging your head against a brick wall, why am I not seeing my guides, why is there no connection? I'm just saying, it could very well be that you are so well on your path, everything is fine for you right now, you do not need any interference. You do, guides want to they don't want to interfere with us really. You know, the less they interfere, kind of the better. They just want to guide when needed. So, you know, you might just be so on your path at that point in time. They're not needed, and they just want to like watch over you and see how you go. So don't stress out if it's not working for you. Just I would just say come back to it at a later date, because the other thing is try, if you can, try and take your ego out of it. Don't don't try and connect with your guides if it's just like, well, they're my guides, so sorry about that. They're my guides, so I want to see them. I want them to manifest. You know, if they're my guides, then they ought to appear. That's like demanding. I suggest you only try and start the process of connecting with your guides because you do actually need guidance. You're desperate for a message. You want to feel comforted because something's going on in your life. So that's what I would personally suggest. Um, and yeah, and then before I go, I just wanted to say one last thing that um, my daughter actually said to me the other day. She said, "Mum," she said, "it's lovely you're doing these videos, but what's the actual point? Why are you bothering?" She said, "Because you're not getting many likes. Um, you know, you're not getting many views. What's the point?" And that's actually a really good question. And I said to her, um, this this is meant to be a journal for myself because I ditched the whole book idea. If you've watched video one, I got 4 chapters in. I got so stuck. I kept going back to it year after year, and I started to feel that I'm not vibing with it. And so, being such a visual person, I like this. I'm convinced my guides were pulling me to do this. Pushing me to do this. That I document it verbally onto video, and if it does help somebody or give any insight, then that's great. But otherwise, this is meant to be just a journal, so that one day, probably when I'm old and in my residential home, I am going to watch these videos back and I am going to laugh myself stupid. I might actually laugh myself to death. I just think it's going to be so funny because that's kind of like my sense of humor. But yeah, so this is just a journal. I'm not trying to give tons of advice and help. Like, I'm on a mission to help lots of people, although that would be nice if it did help somebody. Like, if anybody doesn't know anything about spirit guides or where to start, then maybe this video might help. So yeah, and again, these are all my personal experiences and my personal views. If nobody agrees, or there's another spirit artist out there that's like, I'm talking absolute horse crap, you know, that's fine. But this is just my personal experience. So yeah, if you want to leave a comment or ask a question, feel free. But again, as I keep saying, please be kind. And oh, super quick. I hope that didn't come across as rude when my daughter said, "Oh, you're not getting many likes and many views." That sounded probably like quite negative. No, I mean, I've had a great response on social media asking me to do more videos, and I am appreciative of everybody who's liked, comment, subscribed, and yeah. So I'm wittering on now, so I am going to head off. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.